Hello, 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 and welcome to Social Media Saturday. My name is Crystal Cotton, your host, and what we are going to be talking about today. Okay, why do I look green? What we're going to be talking about today is social media and your business. Social Media Saturday is going to happen every Saturday, and the focus is to help you to find out and learn more about social media, to help you to be able to incorporate social media into your business. So, again, my name is Crystal Cotton. I am president and founder of Get Crystalized Agency, where we make marketing simple for you. And so it's my pleasure to take you through this journey related to marketing and social media. But before we get into the social media for this event going forward, I thought it would be a good idea to establish a foundation because a lot of times there's so many different viewpoints around marketing that it's a little bit difficult to understand. It's like some people are talking about you need a website or you need a landing page or you need, autoresponders and CRM and flow codes and all that stuff. And you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with all that? So what we're going to do today, and actually this is a four-part series, and I'll talk about that a little bit later when we get into the presentation. But we want to have a foundation of what is marketing and how do you incorporate all the different things that you learn about it into your business so you can make wise decisions. Whether you are actually meeting with someone to do it for you as a consulting in a consulting arrangement, or perhaps you want to do it yourself. Either way, we want to make sure that we're providing you that you have a basic foundation to be able to have those conversations with or without me. So let's go ahead and get into the content. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, where am I? Wait 1 second. Oh, will that work? Let's see if we can do something a little bit better. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, great. So for the next 4 weeks, we're going to talk about the marketing super highway. And so it's a four-part series. And what we talk about when I'm talking about the marketing superhighway, what I mean is that because there's so much confusion around these different aspects of marketing, it can really slow down your business. I mean, if you've ever had to have a new website where you had to meet with a web developer on and on and on to provide content and do different things like that, you know that it can be very time consuming to set up a marketing, something for marketing as simple as, or I shouldn't say as simple, but like a website. And so when you don't really know what you need and you haven't really gone through the process of setting up your business from a marketing perspective, it can really drain your time and keep you from engaging in the very things that you want to engage in. So, what we're going to talk about today is making that leap to be able to transition from a state of confusion to the marketing superhighway. So, let's get into the content. Okay. One second. Okay. So, first of all, I want to welcome you. Social Media Saturday is really for you. It's a free week live stream where we help entrepreneurs to understand and implement effective marketing strategies to help you reach your goals. And so, and with Get Crystalized there's lots of different marketing agencies out there. There are tons of with different levels of expertise, different levels of price point. For Get Crystallized Agency, our focus is really helping the entrepreneur to have a simple approach to implementing marketing that doesn't waste your time or your cost tons of money, but can get you that professional look that you want going forward. And so that's why we're here. So the other thing is that we want to focus on a 30,000 foot view. A lot of times, from the Get Crystallized, our brand is around having clarity and being clear about different things that are related to your business. And what I found is that um, when there's so many different ways and perspectives of thinking about things, it's easy to just to not be clear on what you want to do and not be clear on your objectives. So we like to say clarity is power. And the way that I'm able to help you to have clarity is through sessions like this, where I can share basic marketing information and help you to get the most out of it. Oops. Okay, I did something. Okay, so with that, again, this is going to be every Saturday at noon. And so I hope to see you back um, after this session. So, the questions that we will answer. One is, what is marketing and how do I do it? There's so many different things. There's digital marketing, social media marketing, live streaming, like we're doing here, mobile, there's search, there's so many different things. So, what is marketing and how do I do it? What is the difference between branding and marketing? That is something that there's a lot of conversation around. You might think, well, I have a brand. Well, isn't that the same as marketing? Or, well, I'm doing marketing. Isn't it the same as branding? And it's not really, they really are two different things. And we'll get into that in today's session. The other thing we talk about is, how do you go from offline to online? What does that look like? Do you need to? What platforms do you need to be on? Those are all questions that you may be asking yourself around social media. And then we can go into an even lower level of detail where we talk about, well, what post should I make? There's whole courses on, for example, posting on creating posts for Instagram. There's whole courses on that. So it's a matter of time management and how you actually do that. And again, like, how do you measure the effectiveness? This is a big one. How do you even know that the marketing efforts that you're going through and the things that you're promoting, how do you know if they're really making an impact on your business and on your bottom line? We're going to talk about that as well. And how to even decide on what platform to use. So there's a lot of good content. I'm going to try to kind of squeeze into this 4-week session. I'm going to try and keep it at about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. Feel free to include questions in the chat, and I'll try to answer as many as that I can in that time frame. But the purpose, again, here, this is for you. So I think we already talked about the marketing superhighway. Let's skip this one. So here's the agenda and the roadmap for the next 4 weeks. So today we're going to talk about branding and marketing. We're going to talk about marketing strategy versus marketing plan, because these are the foundations for your business in terms of deciding anything that you need to do. So before you create a website, before you do promo videos, before you post on the website, before you do any of that, before you take those actions, you want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of the strategy. And that's going to feed and inform everything else that you do. And it's going to help you save money on your marketing. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. Today, we have a little less content because I'm spending some extra time to kind of set the framework on what we're doing, what we're covering over the next 4 weeks. But then in the next 3 weeks, the following weeks, we're going to really dig into some detail and some content. So bear with me here. So week 2, we're going to talk about, where do I begin? What are the components of a marketing strategy? So today we'll talk about the differences, but next week we're going to talk about, what is a marketing strategy? What's included in that? What do people mean when they say that? Identifying your target market. That's a big one. That's huge. Why? Because that helps you to define not only your target market, but the actual people that you need to reach out to. And then the types of marketing. So we talked briefly about this on the other slide. There's digital marketing, there's content marketing, there's online marketing, there's offline marketing. There's so many different, there's event marketing. There's so many different things that you can do that it helps to just understand in general, kind of have a familiarity with what they are. And that way, when you're meeting with a consultant, or if you're, with an agency, or even if you're just talking about marketing in general with, your peers, you'll be able to articulate what those items are and how they can affect your business. And then in week 3, we're going to talk about marketing in practice. And so this is where we're going to actually take some different types of businesses. So right now I have the list as artists, musicians, content creators like YouTubers, consultants, or even restaurants. How can you evaluate your marketing strategy, look at your marketing plan and your brand, and come up with a an approach that's cost effective for you and beneficial for you. So we're going to get into that in week 3. And week 4 is where we talk about how do you know that what you're doing and that your marketing approach is really generating the results that you want. Now, this is going to be helpful. We're going to talk about things like qualified lead. What's the difference between a qualified lead and a non-qualified lead? We're going to talk about the number of comments. How do you track that? Number of comments is really a significant metrics to use for social media, because when someone actually takes the time to make a comment, it's likely they read your post and they felt strongly enough about it to make a content. Those are great leads. So we want to pay attention to that. The amount of content shared. What we'll find out later as we go through the process on Social Media Saturday is we'll talk about what makes for good content. And specifically, shareable content is like the best content that you can have. Why? Because it gets your content, it says that someone looked at your content, they were excited, they read it, and not only did they read it and consume it, but they were excited enough about your content to share it with someone else. And so that is like by far, that is the best form of social media content. And then we're going to talk about customer acquisition costs. So most of what we cover here on Social Media Saturday will be free options, things that we can do without spending money. But once you have fine tuned your marketing approach, and once you have some great content, you may decide that you want to expand your repertoire to include paid advertising. And so paid advertising is great because it allows you to scale. And so you can scale your offering, you can scale your reach. And when you're able to scale, you're able to increase your revenue. And when you have a proven ad campaign to do that, it's just money, right? So we'll talk about that. There's this concept of net promoter score. We'll touch on it a little bit, but really it's about it's like a combined metric that looks at how are you doing in the sense of, are people promoting your brand? How's your reputation? Those are things that you can get into a little bit later as you mature in your business, but it doesn't hurt to be familiar with it. So if you hear someone reference it like that, or customer lifetime value is how much the customers, the relationship you have with the customer, how is it going to benefit you over the lifetime of that customer? And then customer acquisition cost is, what did it cost you? So if you ran this ad and you reached 1,000 people and you spent, I don't know, $50 on it, then you can assign a cost to your campaign, and you can assign cost to customers, because it's definitely always easier to keep and maintain a customer than to get a new customer. So that's the landscape of what we're going to cover during the next 4 weeks on the marketing superhighway. I feel like this is really meaty stuff. These are things that I had no idea about when I started my business. And so I know that these are questions that you're going to have, and questions that can help you to grow your business as well. So definitely tune in for all the weeks. And then after that, stay tuned for Social Media Saturday, because this is where we're going to do things like talk about, what does a good Instagram post look like? What does a good Instagram page setup look like? How long does it take? Is it something you want to do yourself, or is it something you want done for you? So there's tons. I mean, we have content for decades, basically, that we can cover. But Saturday, Social Media Saturday, is just going to give you a place where you can go and ask questions as you are on this journey of improving your presence online. Okay, so let's get into the content for today. So one of the biggest questions that comes up a lot, and a big area of confusion, is, what is the difference between branding and marketing? Right? I've had several people, even people high up in the marketing industry, they still will use branding as a term to encompass everything, and they're really totally different. So I found a couple of great quotes that I think will help clarify the difference. So one is that a brand becomes more valuable through marketing, marketing is more effective when a brand expresses the value the customer gets from it. In other words, this was actually from there was a question that says, what's more important, branding or marketing? So your branding establishes the who you are, and then and the why, and why should someone from a customer perspective buy from you? But your marketing is what tells the story and helps people to understand more about you and be able to make the connection between your story and their life and see what problem you can solve for them with your product. So the other quote that I found that was really good is a brand is a person's gut feel about your product, service, organization, or cause, and how it fits into their lifestyle, how they live their life. Because at the end of the day, if you're marketing a product or a service, really you're marketing to a customer, and that customer wants to know what's in it for me. How is this going to make my life better? If I'm going to exchange my money for your service or your offering, what's in it for me? And so it's either on their lifestyle or their worldview. Sometimes you can have, it can be an energy, or it can be a perspective, like freedom of speech might be a really big one, given, all of the, kind of requirements, or sometimes I think we can feel a little bit claustrophobic with all of the um, restrictions that are put in to protect us. You could feel a little restricted. So maybe freedom of speech might be some value that they hold near to them. And your brand isn't what you say it is. Your brand is what people perceive it is, right? So even though or the quote says what they say it is. So even though you may think that you have free, your brand is about, culture and freedom of speech and freedom of expression, if people who interact with your brand don't have that essence or that feeling that that's what you're about, then you're missing the mark on your marketing and your branding, and you have to revisit that. The great thing is um, that you're going to continue to evolve, right? One of the big misconceptions, and one of the things that made me really, really want to start Get Crystalized Agency, is there's this perception that you have to have everything all buttoned up and perfect when you get started. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, there are some companies, depending on how long you've been around and where you are in the business cycle, you could feel like you really know your brand and you're comfortable with it. And then you can go to the races and figure out how to present that. I don't know about you, but that wasn't the way things went for me. For me, it was an evolution. It was, man, this is what I really want to help people in the area of spiritual awareness. But how do I do that best? Oh, well, I think I want to help them to get clear and have clarity. Oh, well, I think the best way I can do that is through communication. And oh, how can I help? You know who really needs help is businesses. I mean, there's a whole process that you go through, especially if you're new to entrepreneurship, well, you're not quite sure yet. And so before you spend thousands on a website, or, thousands on a CRM or some other application that you think you need for your business, why not start with a basic system that supports what you know your business to be today, and then, work through it for a few months or years. And then once you get really clear on your brand, now is a great time to invest in that, super multiple thousand, two, three, $4,000 website with all the bells and whistles. Okay, that's a great investment once you know where you want to go. Okay. So I got digressed, but let's go on to the next slide. So I have this other where we talk about what branding is. So branding is a strategy and a process of defining and articulating the purpose, character, and culture that differentiates your brand and its unique selling position or unique voice, so people can look at you, your product or service, and know what value you're bringing to the table. So your brand is who you are, the essence of who you are, the essence of who you relate to. And I know there are a lot of people that maybe are in arts, um, and music and entertainment. It's a little bit trickier to come up your brand when you're in a creative type industry versus if you just have, I don't know, if it's Windex, so you want to clean your windows with Windex, but how do you express your brand when it comes to art? when it comes to the essence of your art and who you are and what you're communicating with people, that can be a little bit more challenging. But it is doable and it's well worth it because what it allows you to do is target your marketing. And when you can target your marketing, then you save money and you're more effective in finding those leads and people that are really going to want to work with you and buy what you have. Okay. Marketing, on the other hand, is storytelling. You've identified your brand, you've identified, who you are, who you want to be with the marketplace, and then marketing is how you share the story. Sorry. Um, so it's how you invite people to your story, how you help them to come along your journey. There's a whole area of marketing around storytelling, and by far, in my opinion, storytelling is the best way for you to really communicate about your offer. Because in a story, people are always their custom stories, and in a story, it helps you to place yourself and your prospective customer in the same place so you can really connect with them on an intimate and emotional level. Okay. So, marketing strategy versus marketing plan. That's another area that's been confusing for a lot of people. So, marketing strategy is your approach and how you're going to achieve your strategic advantage or your competitive advantage in the marketplace. Your marketing plan is the action plan, it's the tactical plan that you're going to use to actually do and execute on the strategy. And this is a great quote from Brian DeHaff on AHA that talks about that. So then, this is another great quote to kind of bring home the point of marketing strategy versus marketing plan. The strategy is the why. Like, why are you in business? Or why are you an artist? Why are you sharing this product offering with people? Why is it? What are they getting from it? What is the value that you're adding to the marketplace? And then the strategy is how do you reach those people? How do you let them know what you have? How do you find the people who want what you have? Right? That's what marketing is about. It's about putting your story out there and in a way that you're efficient with connecting with the people who connect with your story. Okay. Now, here's an example of marketing strategy versus marketing plan. So your brand vision, and I think I used the artist as an example here. So your brand, okay, or your vision for who you are. I'm just going to read this. My art is the conversation piece for families all over the globe, representing freedom of expression and positive energy of love and peace. Right? It's like yeah. When I envision if we're using an artist as an example, I see you've got this great piece and it's behind someone's couch or it's over their credenza and every single you have your story, right? So you met them, you shared your story about your piece or you shared your story about how you came up with that music that you're doing or how your idea for the product came about. And people are natural storytellers. So they'll have someone will come over to their house and they'll see that piece there, or they'll see the product that you're using, and they'll say, "Wow, that's a great piece." And they'll go, "Oh yeah, I got that from this artist here at this event, and I got to tell you, they had a great story." And they share your story, and they get excited about it, and then they say, "Oh man, I really would like one of those on my own." And then they share your information. And because you've been marketing with them on a consistent basis, which we'll talk about later on Social Media Saturday, we'll talk a little bit about customer relationship management systems and why it's important for you to maintain conversation and dialogue with your customers. But because you've been continually communicating with that customer, they know exactly where to find your information. It's easy for them to connect you with someone else. And so get excited. So then that's your brand, that's your vision. So your marketing strategy is kind of why and how are you going to reach out and be able to realize that vision. So I'm just going to read this. And, the strategy, increase exposure to individuals who are known to support freedom of expression as a way of life. Research shows that silent generation, 1928 to 1945, were instrumental in creating the movements um, of the time, the movements like the kind of the hippie movement, those things. But the baby boomers were the ones who were like around and actually consuming and participating in those movements around freedom of speech and expression. And so they were kind of like the consumers of the movement. So you want to launch, so your strategy is going to launch a social media campaign aimed at capturing the nostalgia of the age and promoting and sharing stories connecting my art to the moment, to that moment in history, because people, we're very emotional, we're driven by emotions. It's a language we all understand. And so if you can connect your strategy to meet a need, to connect with an emotion, then that's going to make it easier for you to establish that connection with the customer. And one of the things that I noticed is that with COVID, a lot of people are about the good old days and I remember when and things like that. And so, to the extent that you can connect with nostalgia and connect with those emotions of the past, then that would be great, um, to help people connect with you and see your connection, feel good about history and life. So that's your strategy. That's kind of like the why that you're gonna, in your approach. But then the plan is, let's provide value in a Facebook group that's designed and focused on those people. So, for example, one good one might be old school soul food. That's one of my favorites. Old school soul food. It's not particularly related to art, but guess what? Those people can connect with, a time. I remember when. And so, to the extent that you can connect with them and you can establish a relationship, there's more opportunity for you to share your art and for them to get to know you and see the benefit of having one of your pieces hanging in their home. The other thing that you can do is that you can have as part of your execution plan is to create a raffle swag that would be reminiscent of that time. So, say for example, you know that you're about freedom of expression and that's what you want to connect. And your strategy is to reach out to people that were in kind of during that time and connect with them and reestablish that emotion or feeling of nostalgia. Well, that means that if you were going to go with some type of swag or give a giveaway basket is what, is a nice idea. And then you have them enter your raffle. This is old school marketing. This is offline, but it's still effective. Okay. Particularly if you're in an industry that does a lot of things around festivals and things like that, than if you're doing giving away something that really resonates with that age range. So, for example, if say your target market wasn't, you didn't want to reach out to that age group. Say you want to reach out to, I don't know, millennials or something. Then you wouldn't give away peace symbols and tie dye. You would give away, I don't know, some techno thing, some techie gadget or something like that, right? So this so tailoring your swag to a particular age group based on knowing that that's the group that connects with your emotion, the emotion of your brand, is going to help you to get the names and numbers of those qualified leads who are more likely to spend money with you than someone who's not. You still can get everyone, but we always want to focus when we're trying to figure out how to spend those marketing dollars. You want to focus on the people who are most likely to want to benefit from what you have to offer. Okay. So, and then finally, you don't want to just stop there. And this is what I see a lot in the industry. I see a lot of people who they'll start out, they'll do marketing, they'll get contact information, and then we drop the ball and we don't follow up with those people. And so we have to connect when we would get Crystalized Agency, when we talk about being able to connect with people, what we're talking about is not just stopping with that raffle, but taking that information and putting it into one, connecting with those people, calling them, saying, hey, I remember, I'm so glad you stopped by, making that emotional connection with them, continuing the conversation, and then putting them in your customer relationship management system so you can maintain the connection with them over time. This is the way you build community. And in your community is how you continue to help to build your brand and create raving fans who are going to want to come back to you for whatever it is that you are selling. So, With that, that's what I wanted to share with you today for this first social media Saturday. I hope it was beneficial to you and helpful for you. And what we'll do again is next week, on week 2 for this session, we're really going to get into the nuts and bolts and the meat about what is about the components of a marketing strategy, help you with that target market, creating that target market, and also the types of marketing so you can be familiar with that. So this is going to be a heavy, jam-packed session to help you as an entrepreneur be able to focus your attention on the important components of marketing. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and we welcome you to join every week for Social Media Saturday, where we will share those components that we believe are important for you to make marketing simple, practical, affordable, and relatable. Thank you on behalf of Get Crystalized Agency. Have an amazing Saturday. Bye for now.